A man who faked his own death off the coast of Guernsey before being found guilty of murdering his wife has been cleared for release from prison despite his family saying he still poses a risk to them. Russell Causley appeared to have drowned in a yachting accident in the 1990s but was later found alive and well in England. Our reporter Hamish Ouskary is in St Peter Port where this was a major story at the time. Hamish.
Well, yes, James, this was an extraordinary incident that many of our audience will remember from October 1993. The Jersey Coast Guard received an urgent mayday call from a yacht off the southwest coast of Guernsey saying a man had gone overboard. He was later identified as 50-year-old Russell Causley. A 12-hour search then took place by air and by sea, but all they found was the yacht itself, which was towed back into St Peter Port Harbour by the Guernsey lifeboat. Guernsey police say they were suspicious really right from the word go, but particularly after they found Mr Causley had taken out a life insurance policy worth £800,000 just days before he went missing. It was only after he was convicted for that fraud by an English court that other parts of his life were unpicked, and eventually he was convicted for the murder of his wife in the 1980s. But now, all these years on, he's just been granted parole, and his grandson has told ITV News he's devastated by that decision. Neil Gillingham visits the tree planted in memory of his grandmother Carol Packman because she has no grave. Her killer has refused to reveal the location of her remains. His grandfather, Russell Causley, was first convicted of her murder in 1996 and again after an acquittal in 2004. This week, he's been granted parole.
I was disgusted. I think that it's an absolute slap in the face for justice. It's an absolute slap in the face to my mother, to Marie McCourt, and to our murdered missing. We still haven't buried my grandmother. Where is my grandmother? That's the question.
40-year-old Carol Packman went missing in 1985. Her daughter Sam Gillingham has been at the forefront of a campaign to keep Causley behind bars until he reveals what he did with Carol's body. Sam spoke in 2016 outside the High Court in London.
Just tell me where my mother is. What happens to you thereafter, I don't care. I just want my mother, and that's it. And then he could then go through the system. It's quite simple.
A teenager at the time, it was Sam who reported her mother missing. Causley told her her mother had deserted them. A policing error then meant Sam was told her mother had been found safe and well, supporting Causley's claims. His deceit would not be discovered for more than a decade. While in prison for faking his own death in an insurance scam off Guernsey, it was alleged Causley told fellow inmates details of the gruesome murder of his wife, leading eventually to a guilty verdict in court. But now, as he is about to be released, his grandson Neil says he believes Causley is still a danger to his family.
I do not feel that he's rehabilitated. I do not feel that this risk can be managed successfully within society. I do feel that he poses a risk to women and children out there, as well as ourselves as well. My grandfather has got nothing to lose. He's got everything to gain.
What initially seemed at the time to be the tragic loss of a man in a yachting accident in Guernsey turned out to have a much more sinister reality. Causley committed his crimes decades ago, but for his family and that of the woman he killed, the pain they feel is still raw. Hamish Ouskary, ITV News.
So Hamish, why has the court system decided to grant him parole?
Well, the parole board said in a summary this week that they understood the anguish caused by Mr Causley's refusal to reveal the location of Carol Packman's remains. They also agreed that he was a habitual liar, but they said, crucially, whilst heartless, this lack of openness and honesty did not significantly affect the risk that he would cause serious harm in the community, which they said was ultimately the test that must be applied. He will have some conditions attached to his parole. He must stay at a specified address, have an ankle tag and abide by a curfew. But as you heard in my report, his family don't think anything less than him staying behind bars will be sufficient to keep them safe. They will appeal the decision, but if they're unsuccessful, Russell Causley will be released from prison next month.
OK, Hamish Ouskary, thank you.